Ladies and gentlemen, Rachel Gaither. You can use this microphone.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody on Zoom. Welcome to the annual summit. As Shad introduced me, I am Rachel Gaither. I am the Young Adult Program Coordinator for UWM. And yes, before you ask, I am Jim Gaither's daughter. So yes, I am a minister's daughter. Thank you for noticing. I started this job about 6 months ago. You can email me at youngadult@unity.org if you have any questions outside of this presentation. There we go. So I started this job about 6 months ago, and I am the first person to fill this position since 2009, when this position was let go from Unity Worldwide Ministries. So this is the first time we've had someone in this position for the last 13 years. So most of my time I spent last year reaching out to people, asking questions. I wanted to contact people that had been involved with the next generation of Unity movement, otherwise known as NGU, formerly known as Young Adults of Unity. We can't really settle on a name, I think. It's kind of a Unity trend. I spent time just evaluating what was happening in the movement, what things had worked, what things didn't work, what the concerns were. And I was able to kind of categorize the experience of the young adult movement into a few different categories, most of what I heard. The first is that the transition from familiar to unfamiliar was really a stumbling block for young people. As they're coming out of YOU, how many of you are familiar with how YOU works? How many of you have actually attended a YOU event or a YOU group? You guys on Zoom, you're included in this question. Okay, great. So if you've been to YOU, you know that it is a very small, close-knit format. It's very much like a small group ministry. They talk to each other every week. Everyone knows everyone else. They share the things that are troubling them. They pray together. They meditate together. They go on retreats together. This is a very intimate setting to be supported and walk through some of the most challenging transitions of life with your friends. This is a strong format for young people. And as they graduate, what's been happening in Unity is there's typically no young adult group, so they're just expected to join the congregation. Now let's compare those, okay? So we've got a very small, close-knit family of people you know, who see you, who know you, who have respect for you and love you how you are, and you're expected to step into a congregation full of people you barely know, sitting in the back of a room and listening to someone talk to you for an hour. You might not even be greeted at some places because sometimes they don't have greeters, or sometimes you slip in the back door. And there's no real engagement at that level in a congregational setting. So on top of that, we'll go to, I'm gonna jump down to number 3, transition into adult in the community. Okay, so these are young people that have been viewed as young people their entire lives at that church, possibly. And then they come to the congregation and they're greeted with, I remember you when you were in diapers. I remember you when you were this big and you vomited all over the fellowship hall. People don't necessarily say that, but you know what I'm saying? They're relating to you as a child, right? They're relating to you as a child. And as a new adult, that's very difficult to be okay with. So that's part of the transitional issue. We've also got young people want are looking for exploration and growth. They're looking for, they've just separated themselves from their family and in metaphorical sense, right? They're either moving out from home or they're stepping into their independence from their parents. And they are finding out who they are. They're figuring out who they are, and they want new experiences. They want to meet new people. They want to see new places. They want to travel. They want to explore new ideas, right? And sometimes Unity offers that, right, in our classes, but there is a gap if you've grown up with it, and I'm speaking from experience, there's a gap between what we've grown up with as young people in Unity and the courses that deepen spirituality. And so young people are looking for exploration and growth. So how do we address that? So what we've come up with, and when I say we, I mean me, is we've come up with 3 different branches for the NextGen program. Okay. So, and we'll be talking about each of these. The first is the NextGen spirit groups. Is anybody here familiar with spirit groups? Yeah. Spirit groups is good stuff. If you don't know about it, I highly recommend that you check it out. It is available for all Unity ministries. There's training available at UWSI. Shameless plug. And it has, I think it's going to be revolutionary, quite frankly. So I'm very excited to bring it to the NextGen program. The second is Love Light, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that. That's also very exciting. And then we have a program in the very baby stages of development called Unity Cultural Ambassadors. So let's talk about these programs. First, NextGen spirit groups. So those of you who are familiar with spirit groups, you know that spirit groups is very similar to small group ministry. The difference is it is focused on connecting the group. So this is about community connection. It's not about the book that you're studying. It's not about the thing that you're doing together. It's about connecting as a community. So, and with the spirit groups model, we have an ongoing structure that is nationwide that can support whomever wants to start a group. So in the past, make sure you guys are muted. We love you too, man. So, but make sure you're muted. So in the past, some of the issues that we have come up with, seen in the field, is that the young adult group is having a hard time working with the ministry at their church, working with the leadership. And sometimes there's been a requirement to have an adult sponsor that's outside the adult age group to sponsor the other adult age group, which I'm sure you can imagine might be insulting to someone who's also an adult. I don't need another adult to look after me and make sure that I'm dotting my I's and crossing my T's. I can just have a little group that meets, right? So that's been a little bit of friction. So, and sometimes it's been like, since no one's been in this position for the last 13 years, you want to start a young adult group. Okay, go for it. Let me know how it goes. Take a look. And these are young people that are going to college. They're having babies, they're starting their careers, they're starting relationships, they're moving out on their own for the first time. These are young people that need our support. They are not, imagine someone starting over in life because they had a major life change and they don't have a home and they don't have a job and they come into your congregation. Would you expect them to give back to your congregation in equal amount? No, you would not. You would be like, you know what? We're a church community. We're going to step up and support you. That is the case for this entire age group, especially coming right out of high school. So this is a model that will help us to support the vast spectrum of demographics within the NextGen program, which is, by the way, I failed to mention, is ages 18 to 35. So I've got my job cut out for me already. So that allows us to keep that local. And within the church congregations, it gives churches access to the groups. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Second program is Love Light. The second branch is Love Light. Now, how many of you have heard of the Light Center, Unity Light Center in Baldwin City, Kansas? Robin Goff, a licensed Unity teacher, founded the Light Center, and she started this program called Love Light about 20 years ago. It started out as an AIDS orphan crisis project. They went to Riversonderend in South Africa, and they collaborated with the community, and the community came up with, they wanted to serve the community by supporting the education of the children. So they created a children's sanctuary where they could come and do homework. They could come and get a hot meal. So part of the issue is that at the time was that children were being orphaned by the AIDS epidemic there. And children were becoming caretakers for their younger siblings. They were dropping out of school very young to care for the household. And some of them were given, some of them would be given to relatives that just really could not support them, but the responsibility was placed upon them. And so there was also a lot of neglect and abuse. And this children's sanctuary helped to turn around the access these young people had. And it paired the community with itself. The grandmothers of the community came in and they would teach them life skills, knitting, they'd help them with their homework, they'd be emotional support for these children that didn't have any adults in their lives. And it was transformational for the community. And in 2000, don't quote me on this, I'm not remembering my numbers properly. I think it was 2013, 2008? I don't know. It was in the 2000s. There was a piece-by-piece program for international youth to come to the International Youth of Unity Conference. So we had delegates from India, we had delegates from Russia and Trinidad and Tobago, Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, Japan, we had, I can't list all of them off the top of my head. There were at least 23 delegates in the year that it was the most prolific as a program. And they were exchanging with the International Youth of Unity Conference, which was amazing. It's an amazing program. And that program shifted over to when UWM decided to stop. I should know my history better. I'm going to stop talking about details, but it did evolve into the Love Light program. And so the Love Light program became a teen exchange program where youth leadership from the United States would pair up with youth leadership from Riversonderend, South Africa, and they would put on a YOU style event that would teach principles of self-esteem, self-worth, self-confidence, connection, trust, community intimacy. And this program has supported that community in sending over 30 first-generation youth to university in the past 20 years. I'm going to say that again. They have supported over 30 first-generation youth in that village in the middle of the after effects of apartheid. Children of color are going to university for the first time from that community. And they're coming back as accountants. They are coming back as what they dreamed they wanted, but never thought they could be. And so that's Love Light. And sorry, I'm going to go back because I forgot where I was like, that's me. I look great, but that's not helping me. So we acquired this program from Robin Goff just this month. And they had, obviously with COVID, they weren't able to travel and the program had declined. They had some staff losses and they just weren't able to keep up with what the program was, and they were ready to shutter the program. And when I got in contact with her, we started talking about partnering and having us carry that program forward. So we have partnered together. Robin is continuing to work with us with making sure that the program is set up and for success. And she's working with us with training and everything. So she is a rock star. If you have not met Robin Goff, she's one of my heroes, man. So that's Love Light. Okay. So we have acquired that program to be able to reconstitute the program, revitalize it, and begin that exchange again for young people just out of YOU. Yes. Here we go. That's what I'm looking for. Still looking at myself. Hello. Unity Cultural Ambassadors. So this is a program that we have two young women that I've been working with. They are remarkable. Emily Myers and Amelia Yates. Oh my gosh, I always get them mixed up. I don't know why. I know their faces. Don't judge me. It's been a long week, guys. But I love them to death. It is, I know it's only Tuesday. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So I've been working with these young ladies and Reverend Linda McLeod. They were really wanting to bring back the international aspect of the Youth of Unity Conference, now known as IYOU. And I introduced them to Robin's program and they are like, yes, please. So we are developing a domestic program, and this is on the table, but it'll be a little bit beyond because there's only one of me and I'm part-time. So, but we are working on developing a program to develop leadership with youth in cultural sensitivity training, in leadership development, in possibly in public speaking, and learning these skills and attributes that they would need to be able to cross cultural lines and work with people. And that program is in preparation for trips like Love Light. And we are hoping that the Love Light template will be a template for other programs down the line where we can exchange and work with different communities all over the world. And my vision is that the Cultural Ambassadors project not only extends through NextGen as a program, but also into the rest of the Unity movement through volunteerism and service worldwide. So that is something that's on the table and we are very excited about it, but I can't work on it quite yet. So, but tell your friends to send us money so we can do that. All right. So this is the big picture for you visual learners that Shad was talking to earlier, like me. So here we have YOU on the far left. They're very small circles of community, right? And then we're gonna, the low arc is like the comfortable, I want to stay at home with my friends and my family. I'm not ready to fly the coop. I don't really want to go anywhere. I like it here. This is a nice transition for them. So we go from YOU to a NextGen spirit group, and it can incorporate seamlessly into the Unity Spirit Groups model. So especially for those ministries that are utilizing the Spirit Groups model, that is a great transition to pull those young people through that program and back into your congregation. And then we have what I call the high arc, the adventure arc, for those young people who were like me, that was like, guys, I got to get out of Dodge. I love you, mom and dad. I can't stand you. please let me leave. So this is about the Youth of Unity Cultural Ambassadors. It's higher leadership for the youth. They have a Love Light capstone trip, so like a graduate trip almost. And then we move into NextGen Cultural Ambassadors, which would do a little bit, maybe a little bit more advanced service, maybe areas that are more difficult or service that's a little bit more sensitive. And then we can continue into Unity Cultural Ambassadors for the entire movement, pulling unity into that outreach and that international influence that I feel like we've been missing. And I think that if we're being honest, we have been missing that. I think that it's also has a lot of potential for a lot of other applications, supporting our national schools outside the US, supporting our ministries outside the US, shuttling educational supplies to people that can't get the books, right? So there's a lot of positive possible applications for this type of work. And so we're very excited about this model. I'm very excited about this model. I feel like you guys are really excited about this model too. So our thank you. Hold your applause. So next steps are we're rolling out the NextGen Spirit Group's host training. In fact, we're starting that next week. Next week, we're starting that. So, and that is open to anyone who is interested in starting a NextGen Spirit Group. This is host training. This is not the program trainer training that UWSI offers. So this is just going to be like Spirit Groups Light. You get a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it's tailored specifically to work with NextGen age groups. But it is available for a love offering. So we are doing that. So if you want to do that, email me, call me. Next, we're working on the very next thing, like the next day. We're raising funds for the Love Light program recreation. So we have a team in South Africa that is ready to come here. We are actively working on trying to get a donation campaign moving for that. But we do need funds to bring those guys here, and we need funds to bring our officers that are in the US to the events that they need to be able to attend, to plan and to promote it. So we are actively taking donations for that. And then we will be able to, once we get the Love Light program recreated, our first Love Light trip to South Africa is going to be this next winter. So December 2023 or January 2024 is what we're planning on. And once we have that recreated and we have a feel for that, we're going to work on developing the ambassador program for the youth so they can start going to events and get cultural sensitivity training and have those types of experiences to set them up for these types of programs. How can you get involved? Guys, I'm so glad you asked. I was just going to tell you. So you're welcome to come to me for hosting a NextGen Spirit Group. We're still developing that whole thing and feeling out what works best. But my idea is that we'll have a seed group, which is someone that is outside the age range that's there to support young people as they immediately come out of high school. And then we'd also have a type of group that is self-sufficient, but it would need to be run by people within that age group. So there's something for everybody, guys. Something for everybody. You can also participate in the 500 by 90 conversation. The Youth of Unity alumni, our network, is hosting a conversation online. You can find them at 500by90.youalumni.com. They are out to revitalize the YOU movement. When I graduated from YOU, there were over 500 people at the IYOU conference. Now we're lucky if we have 50. It's COVID has hit the YOU movement very hard, and this conversation is about revitalizing it. If you are interested, feel free to see what you can do to support that conversation. You can donate on our UWM page to NextGen or Love Light programs. We've got special designations now, thanks to our lovely accounting team that has put up with me on a number of occasions, asking for their assistance. So we have those designations now, and you can contact me at youngadult@unity.org. Okay, I'm going to leave that slide up for a second. Kodak moment. All right, does anybody have any questions for me? Questions in the chat? We got questions from Sandra Campbell. Sandra.
All right, good. My question has to do with our youth and family ministry program. To make sure that the curriculum that we offer is married to the programs that you're offering, because I can see that we have a lot of YFM leaders and ministers who focus on YFM who would probably help a lot with this. And if our curriculum matched it, we can also incorporate, and I can speak for the urban school, we can incorporate some of the same training, the small group, we can have workshops, things like that. So I'm glad to offer our assistance in that way, and donations. So we do post UWM's needs on our website and in our newsletter. So I'll add that to it.
Thank you, Sandra.
And Rachel, Marty Newman has a question.
Yes.
Rachel, if a minister or someone in the church knows of some YOU kids who are older than that now, that they think they would be interested, if we sent you their email, would you get in touch with them? Or do you have the ability to do that? What would be the best way for us? We're not in touch with them anymore, but we could get information about them to connect them with this.
What I would recommend, and this is just because I'm part-time and I don't have time to be reaching out. I barely have time to reach out to the people that reach out to me. So I would suggest, if you have young people that are interested in starting something, you can have them contact me. The other thing is that we're going to be trying to get some online NextGen spirit groups going. So it would be a nationwide NextGen spirit group. You can watch for that on the NextGen Unity page. It's the Young Adult Ministry page on the UWM website. And I'll be posting anything that we're going to be doing openly. Right now, we're just doing host training, but I would like to start after that. I would like to start hosting a regular spirit group for anyone who would like to be involved. So in that context, if they don't want to lead, they can join us for that. And you can give them that, our information about that. And again, I'll have to post that information on the webpage because that doesn't exist yet, but that is what's coming down the pike.
So maybe send them an invitation and a link to that stuff. And when did you say that should be up?
That is not happening yet. We need to get hosts going first. And the host training will be complete in April. So it probably will be sometime in the summer or the fall before we'll have an actual group going online nationally. But that is coming after. Yes. She asked me to. What else? What other questions do we have? The question is, what are the times for the 2 training classes? So I have one on Mondays from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Central Time. And then and that's starting February, the 6th. Yes. Okay. So Mondays that were February 6th, and then that Thursday, the 9th. I'm going to say the 9th. Thursday, the 9th, we're going to be meeting from 1 to 2 p.m. Central Time. And those will be meeting every other week. So they'll be meeting every other week for 6 sessions. through Blackboard and Collaborate. So to participate in those trainings, you'll need to be a student of UWSI. So you need to go through the student enrollment process and application. You can contact our office on how to, you can contact me on how to do that because that's like literally my other job. If you have any questions about that, and then the training is offered on a love offering basis once you're enrolled as a student.
And Laura Barrett has a question. Bennett has a question.
Yes.
No worries, Barrett, Bennett, they both work. Thanks for doing this. The YOU alumni group, do they have a particular format or structure, or are they formulating at this point?
They are their own group that is independent of our organization. They are present on Facebook as the YOU Alumni Network. And they have worked with Shad. They've talked with Shad about their vision. Shad's fully in support of it. And they are just trying to host a conversation within ranks to figure out how what can be done to support the revitalization of the YOU movement. So it's really about just the conversation. How can we support this?
Got it. Thank you. And I may have missed it. Is there an age range for young adults?
Yes, it's ages 18 to 35-ish. So it's very non-specific. And the reason it's so non-specific is because we have, you have young folks from right out of high school. And then you have like this whole arc of figuring out your career and the beginning of your life. And by the time you're at the end of that, there are some groups that their demographic at their church is like 30s and 40s, and that's their NextGen group. There are some groups that they have a lot of YOUers that come through. So now they've got a younger group. So yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Do we have any questions in the chat? Any other questions? I cannot thank you enough for having me up here today. Thank you, UWM, for letting me talk about my stuff. And thank you for listening, your attention. Please email me if you have any questions. You can also leave any other questions in the chat and we'll be glad to get back with you. So thank you so much.